And blessed to be a part of your day, Kevin Miller in the morning on KIDO Talk Radio. Joining us now, I think he might be moving to Idaho, Mark Meckler from the Convention of States. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. How are you?
Not bad. What a great night it was. What did you think of our little get-together that we had here in Idaho?
Well, I mean, first of all, calling it little is quite the understatement. It was a packed house, and it was really enthusiastic. I'll tell you, being from California, it was an incredible pleasure to be in a room full of patriots who were enjoying the president's speech.
Well, it's interesting. Most people would go to Dave & Buster's for a sporting event, but it's a unique vibe that we have here in the Treasure Valley in Idaho. And you being a proponent, a champion of local radio, I guess under that frame of reference, your thoughts.
Yeah, I think what I saw, and you and I have talked about this in the past, I think what you see when you see a few hundred people like that come out to be with somebody like you, to watch an event like the State of the Union, what you're seeing is, in my opinion, local radio at its finest. I get a chance to do national radio, TV. My favorite venue is local radio because a guy like you who's on the air with his listeners every day has a unique relationship with the listeners. Your listeners know you in a way that you can't know one of these national guys. They know you as one of them. You happen to be behind the microphone. You express a lot of what they believe. You give them a chance to be on the air. So it forms a unique bond in a relationship. It was evident last night. People were thrilled to see you. You're really good. You're out there wandering around talking to people in the crowd. It's why I love local radio so much.
Mark, let's talk a little bit about the speech last night. What did you think?
Man, I thought he hit it out of the park. I thought he hit every subject he needed to hit, and then some. I thought he did it with a tone and a tenor that was very presidential. That's something that people are looking for in the State of the Union. I thought he was measured, but not boring. I thought he was calm, but still showed great enthusiasm. He kicked off his accomplishments in a way that I think is always important in the State of the Union. And most importantly, he looked forward in a very positive and uplifting way.
Indeed. Of course, a little different than the Democratic response.
Well, I thought it was funny. I didn't get to watch all of them. I watched Joe Kennedy give his. Thought it was a little bit sad and pathetic. But I actually thought that was in keeping with the entire tenor of the Democrats during his speech, literally inappropriately, in my opinion, and sometimes sitting on their hands for things like applause for the lowest African unemployment in American history, lowest Hispanic unemployment in American history. Even the Congressional Black Caucus sat on their hands for those lines.
Yeah, again, it was something that I think really resonated, and I believe the president said "we" over 120 times, something like that, as opposed to what we have heard and have grown accustomed to with President Obama, former President Obama, where he was always talking about I. What do you think of the examples the president displayed last night when he had real Americans who'd made a difference?
Yeah, I thought the stories were incredible. To me, that's always the best part of the State of the Union address, is where he recognizes ordinary Americans. So I especially loved the couple, the law enforcement officer and his wife that had adopted a baby from the drug-addicted woman. I thought it was very touching that somebody was willing to step out and give of their lives in that way. So to me, that's the best part, is because what he shows, and to be fair, all presidents do this, is they try to show the best of America.
Indeed. So, Mark, how goes the fight here in Idaho?
Yeah, we're here. We're having a fight, quote unquote, over the Convention of States project, and this is a request that Idaho join 12 other states that have already done this, which is to call an Article 5 Convention of States to propose amendments to restrain the scope, the power, and jurisdiction of the federal government. It's going really well. I had a chance to meet with legislators there at your event last night. Again, that speaks really well of you. There were Idaho legislators in attendance for the event that you put on, and we had really positive reaction. Actually, had a chance to get face-to-face with Tom Mund from the John Birch side. A great exchange with Tom, and we'll probably get together and talk some more. So for me, it was fantastic to be there, to be with Idahoans, be with some of the legislators. It was really productive for the Convention of States project as well.
Mark, we appreciate you getting up so early with us. If people want more information, what can they do, sir?
Go to conventionofstates.com, and right now, for the fight, call your legislator, let them know it's time to call a Convention of States.
Mark, we appreciate it. Finally, back to the beginnings, before you became a national figure with Tea Party Patriots, how would you compare what you're doing now to what you helped found, what you founded then?
I'm really proud of what we did with the Tea Party Patriots. We changed the American discourse about politics. What we changed it from was what should Washington, D.C. do for us to what can we, the people, do for our country, really, because we are the sovereign citizens. And so I feel like we changed that. We started a discussion about the scope and the power of the federal government. Now with Convention of States, instead of just discussing, instead of just protesting, instead of just gathering and having meetings, we're actually doing something. We're using the power of the Constitution to save the Constitution. So I think this is activism in action as opposed to the Tea Party, which we never really had a plan. I'm really excited about the changes we made. Now we have a plan to fix the nation, so I think this is far more powerful.
Well, Mark, get some sleep.
Well, I'm up and going. I've been doing interviews since 4:30, but I'm glad to be up and doing it here in Idaho, Kevin. And thanks for hosting us last night.
Well, thank you. How much longer are you going to be here?
I'm here until Thursday, so all day today in the legislature. If you want to come on by and visit us, we'll be wandering around the Capitol with our Convention of States buttons on, and I'll be here tomorrow until about 1 o'clock.
Well, certainly safe travels home. We hope to see you again, and thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Kevin. I appreciate it.
Have a great day, sir. All right, our great friend Mark Meckler joining us. Let's get to your reaction from last night's State of the Union. Let's go to Terry in Boise. Terry, good morning.
Good morning. Unfortunately, with my cancer, I missed it, but I missed the golden opportunity because I wanted to introduce their getting help from the people there and other people that might have influence to get you that Man of the Year award and have some people work with me on that. And so I was really sad losing that golden opportunity because nobody has contributed more to the Treasure Valley than you have, and not for money. But your goodness, your belief, a patriot, from the missions, rescue missions, schools, the police, the military, you get a perspective on everything and it's given back so much. It's the least that our people in the state could do is recognize you, get a piece and a paper and a plaque and with your picture on it and describe what you've done. But I missed that golden opportunity, and I was hoping people this morning that might be listening, they could give me a call, Terry French, at 208-362-2204.
Well, Terry, I've got something better for you. I don't mean to interrupt you.
What's that?
I've got a surprise for you.
What's that?
Well, we're going to have another get-together February 10th from 4 to 6 p.m.
Where at?
At Dave & Buster's once again.
Okay.
And wait for it, you're going to love this part. We're going to ask people to bring a canned food item, a non-perishable item for the Boise Rescue Mission. It's called 50 for 50. And because I'm turning 50, we might as well all get together and donate, it could be a can, could be a jar of peanut butter to the Boise Rescue Mission. And, Terry, you're going to go, well, that's okay, Kevin Miller, but I have one better for you. My mom and my dad will be there. So you'll get to meet my mom.
I finally get to meet your mother and dad. That's amazing. I can't hardly believe you're turning 50.
Yeah, neither can I. Yeah.
Don't look. And the energy you put forth, man, I wish I had half your energy.
I wish I had half my energy, but I know you're a big fan of my mom, and she will be here. She wanted to meet everybody. So why don't we just all do that at Dave & Buster's from 4 to 6 on February 10th? And I thought of you many times when we thought about putting this together. So we hope to see you there, and I know she wants
to be there.
Okay.
Unless I get as sick as I was last night. But I think I'm coming down off to the point of embarrassing me in public. Thank God.
Well, you're in my prayers every night, brother.
Well, I appreciate that. You're a wonderful man, and it's so good to have met you multiple times and been interactive with your causes. It's just been amazing, and you're an amazing person that really has stimulated people to give back to the communities, and the recognition you've done for so much and so many is just wonderful. And that's February 10th?
Yes, sir.
Okay, with Dave and Buster's. Okay.
From 4 to 6.
From 4 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I will be there.
Well, it'll be good to see you again, brother.
Good to see you and your family. That parents have raised an amazing person.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
And hopefully Bob Nugabar and I can get together also again and get more of this rolling.
Oh, well, okay, Terry, you take care of yourself, all right?
All righty. God bless you, and I really sincerely mean that. And you are a true patriot and a true American. And that can counters all of races. I'm so tired of the division that people put up for that. But it was pathetic to see the Democrats sit on their hands last night. That was so sad.
Well, they're the libs.
Yeah, well, I just don't know how many people go through life, go through a university, and become that stupid.
Ah!
It's amazing. Well, thank you for taking my call. It was good to talk to you again, and look forward to seeing you.
God bless, Terry. Take care. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Coming up, your reaction to last night's State of the Union. We want to hear what you have to think. And we'll tell you a little bit about Dave and Buster's last night, and just an incredible crowd. We so appreciate you. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio.
Roughly 200 people were at Dave & Buster's to watch the State of the Union address. A vast majority of those in attendance openly support the president and his policies. But one man we spoke with hopes lawmakers on both sides of the aisle can come to an agreement on DACA that would give protections to dreamers.
I think for the people that are here to make a better life for themselves have every right to do so. In the beginning of time, we were all came to another country to do exactly that. As far as the people that are coming here, selling drugs, gangbanging, and not living and improving their lives and the country that they're in, they need to be deported.
And do want to thank our friends, well, not really our friends, but the folks at Channel 5+1 last night for covering the event. Do appreciate that. We sent out notices to everybody, and, I had to lobby them to actually air this. But again, we appreciate it. We don't do it for the publicity. We do it for the community. And it was just a humbling event. As I was talking to Mark Meckler last night and talking to you, most people get fired up for a sporting event, but you came out to support the cause. You came out to show people that America matters. And I think the president did that. I know the president did that last night. 623, 33 degrees in Meridian. Kevin Miller in the morning at KIDO Talk Radio. Well, if it isn't Mr. All Talk and No Action, Liberal Steve joins us this morning. Good morning, sir.
Well, if it isn't Mr. I'll invite every senior in Idaho to a State of the Union.
Well, if it isn't Mr. I'm going to be there and not show up.
You didn't see me in the crowd last night.
You weren't.
I wasn't too far. I wasn't too far from the guy with the red, white, and blue Chicago hat.
Really?
That they actually interviewed. Yeah, with the Fu
If
Manchu
that was the
mustache,
case, then
DACA.
why didn't you come up and talk to me?
I told you I was coming incognito just to observe. I didn't want to come up and talk to anybody.
It's too bad. We had a lot of people ask about you last night.
I didn't want to have any pictures of me in a place that serves alcohol. It just promotes it.
Okay.
February 10th. I would like to be at that because I would like to meet your mom and dad and ask them what time in your life did they drop you on your head.
Wow. Well, we hope to see you February 10th.
Is that your birthday, February 10th?
Actually, my birthday is February 5th, but we got the room for February 10th.
Oh, now I know why you have the personality you do as far as where you rank among the stars when it comes to birth. My anniversary is on the 9th of February, so yes, I'll be there in full colors.
You know what they call this in the business? They call this tune-out. Go ahead.
What did you think of the actual State of the Union last night? What did you think, and why? My first question is, why are you slamming the Democrats for sitting on their hands?
The libs?
I mean, the libs. I watched three YouTube of Obama's State of...
Hold on, the people of your ilk, the libs?
People? The people of my ilk sat on their hands, and I was glad to see it because I watched 3 YouTube videos at 5 o'clock this morning as Obama's State of the Union, and there wasn't one Republican that clapped or stood up.
Sure. What would there be to clap about? Hey, we're going to stick you with health care. Hey, we've blown up the Middle East. It's a disaster. And we're going to rewire the country culturally, and we're not going to let anybody vote about it. Yeah, I'd clap about that. Lowest unemployment amongst African Americans, people investing in America. How can you not like what the president said?
You know, that makes me just so irritated when you talk like that. I mean, coming off a major depression in 2008 takes 10 to 15 years to recover from. And then he lied about the Obama health care, saying, and that starts now, as far as them being able to opt out of the $695. That doesn't start till 2019. So I hope a lot of them try and opt out and have to turn around at the end of the year and pay $700 on their taxes.
You know,
because
always
everybody else.
A hater. How could you not like that speech last night? It was amazing. It was inspirational. It was something we haven't seen since Ronald Reagan.
Oh my God, you have really gone down the rabbit hole. How much Kool-Aid did you drink last night?
I had a Diet Coke, maybe 2.
Oh, you stay off the Diet Coke. Get totally off the sugar, bread, and everything else. You don't need it.
Well,
period.
Anything else? Because this is really not going anywhere.
You want to head down the diabetic road, just keep eating the sugars and the bread and the pop and everything else. You'll be cutting your feet off before you're 60.
Well,
so
here we call it soda. But anyway, this is your second warning. Do you have anything? Because if not, you're going to be gone.
I think everything he had to say was ridiculous except for the infrastructure of the United States. But I do hope that he releases all the memos because I want the deep state exposed.
Well,
you stay fired up.
So you're saying, though, you were there?
Yes, I was there in full color.
What was I wearing?
Kevin, I don't have to sit here and
What was
play
I wearing?
Who was. You were wearing your same old. Is that good enough for you, Miller?
No, you weren't there.
And, Kevin, all I had to do is watch Channel 6 if you want me to tell you what you're wearing, because they covered it. So that wouldn't be fair, would it?
Well, you weren't there.
You know, it was a lost cause. I'm glad we only have 1,400 days left to this insane individual.
All right, 628. Well, we tried. We tried to be inclusive. Traffic and weather together at KIDO Talk. Larry, we so appreciate your weather forecast. Like I said, at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. I want to thank everyone who showed up at Dave & Buster's last night. If you couldn't make it, that's okay. It was wonderful to see everyone and to just let everybody know that there is a community. Thanks to Liberty Linda. Unfortunately, we didn't get enough time to yap to her, security guard Mike. And one thing that makes Donald Trump so, for lack of a better term, magical, is that here you have this guy who, like all of us, imperfect, but really speaks from the heart about the American people, the heroes, whether it was Representative Scalise, whether it was the police officer that adopted a child that the mother addicted to heroin ready to kill herself, whether it was the guy who was tortured by the North Koreans, lost his daddy, has an artificial leg, carried the crutches around with him. So remarkably different from anything that we've seen. We'll talk a little bit about that, but look, this is a show with you. I'd love to hear from you, your thoughts on the speech at 580-5436, 580-KIDO. You're listening to Kevin Miller on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning, Maggie.
Good morning.
Kevin Miller in the morning here, 6:36. Coming up, we'll hear from Cindy in Caldwell and take more of your phone calls. First, KIDO Talk Radio is a proud member of the Fox News family that gives us access to our friend Simon Owen in London with the very latest concerning Putin and everything else. Simon, is it too soon to gauge European reaction, British reaction to the President's State of the Union speech last night?
Hey, Kevin. I mean, it's on the news here, I can tell you that, but that's going to be about the extent of it. This wasn't a speech, as far as I could tell, that had a great deal of impact on European allies. Certainly the Chinese and the Iranians have been critical of what the President had to say, but here in Britain, I don't think it's going to come up. If nothing else, it was about 2 a.m. when it started, so you're not going to get a big audience for that.
Indeed. How do folks in your country view Putin?
I think there's probably a degree of skepticism about him. He also, what you often get on the foreign news a lot of the time with President Putin is when he goes bare-chested, ice swimming or diving in a submarine or riding on a horse. It's those pictures that do spread very quickly. I don't think he's somebody who is probably particularly popular here. I don't have any idea of the polling figures or anything like that. But he's certainly somebody who everyone knows. And, I mean, he's been in power 18 years now, and he's running for election in March, and that will, if he wins that, and he almost certainly will, and then goes on to serve another full term, that will be a quarter of a century of Putin. Now, when you're in office for that kind of time, approaching the 2-decade mark already, you simply transcend the news and politics. You become a cultural figure who people generally know. So he's certainly known. But just as there's been all the talk in the U.S. about Russian interference in the presidential election, so too now there are suggestions that the Russians may have had something to do with the campaigning regarding the Brexit vote, very much anti-EU in the Russian government. And the suggestion is that there was similar kind of social media tactics being deployed during the Brexit campaign. But that's an investigation that's at its early stages.
Simon Owen joining us here as we continue on KIDO Talk Radio. So, how much of the U.S.-Russian relationship is still influenced by what happened in World War II, NATO, and the Warsaw Pact? Is that still relevant?
In the U.S.-Russia relations today?
Yes.
I mean, I think things have probably moved on from there. And, I mean, you have this situation at the moment where you have a president in the U.S. who has talked openly about the need to improve relations with Russia, and you have a Russian administration which is pretty open to that. It always falls back on this kind of Russophobia, as they call it in Russia, and this idea that the U.S. is opposing. Indeed, the latest news, the U.S. didn't impose any sanctions against Russia this week, as it had been thought it might do, but it did publish a list of names of people who are said to have, in the words of the U.S. Treasury, flourished under President Putin's leadership, and that sort of thing. But whenever there's bad relations, it always goes back to this language of a Cold War mentality and that sort of thing. So I think if it's dominated by anything, it's potentially the Cold War. That's the hangover that is perhaps still felt. And it just shows that, this is a complicated relationship, and all these years later, and it seemed that perhaps with President Trump, if he really was going to nail his colours to the mast and warm things up with Russia and they become friendly again, it just shows that there is so much water under the bridge that it's not really politically been possible for him to do that. This is still a very complicated relationship, even though Russia these days, I don't think you can really call it a superpower on the world stage. Its influence is potentially outsized with regards to its economy and that sort of thing, and yet it manages still to keep itself right up there as one of the most talked about countries on the planet.
Simon, we appreciate you. Thank you, brother.
Thanks, Kevin.
All right. Simon Owen, live from London. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. So one of the great days to be a part of Talk Radio today. Your thoughts on this?
We will build gleaming new roads, bridges, highways, railways, and waterways all across our land. And we will do it with American heart, American hands, and American grit.
You know, I never heard that from Obama. And here she is, returning, our friend Cindy from Caldwell on KIDO Talk Radio. Good morning.
Oh, good morning, Kevin. That was just so joyous last night. And, you know, I mean, I believe our president and has captured the heart of his people. And, you know, I want to so thank you, because for me to drive into Boise takes a bit. But those people at that venue, the servers, our waiter was delightful. I mean, they couldn't have done more. With the spirit of just trying to, you know, just get everybody seated and take their orders so that we could watch this event. And the food was absolutely delicious. I totally enjoyed my Trump Tower sundae. It was like, oh, it was so good. But, you know, I just thought, you know, sitting there, Sean Hannity had once talked about the forgotten man. And not only looking up on that screen was I blessed to see, you know, Vice President Pence, you know, just sort of covering the back, and Mr. Ryan sitting there of our president. And the ability for him to what he's been through, like the Americans and the people that he up on the street, just so touched my heart. The courage and the determination and the sheer, I mean, even from that young boy at 12 years old to go, you know, honor our veterans by putting the flags. We had Boy Scouts in Lyndon, Washington that would get up before 5 in the morning on various, you know, Memorial Day to do the same thing, to put those flags out. Or how about the welder? I mean, those are the people you don't usually get recognized. And I just was thinking there was not something for everyone, not only on the menu, but within that speech. So I really want to thank you. And, you know, Melania had a beautiful white dress. And I'm sorry that the other side, because it's in your thought life where you can choose where to go. But white to me is always a sign of renewal and hope. And even at Believe This One, because it is biblical. I wore a white dress to my mom's funeral. My mom was sick my whole life. But I was so joyous that even her standing up and trying to give support to, you know, broken-hearted people, that's what you could notice. You know, there was two families that were obviously devastated by the death of their daughters. I mean, even the thing that you would see with Americans, someone handing someone a tissue, someone putting their arm around someone, Melania just standing there with, you know, with the grace and the poise. So the whole night to me was like one of the most joyous moments, and thanks to you, Kevin, because you carried the night also with the amount of decorum that our president did. And I do like your red tie and your suit. I do. I think you look great kind of standing there, just very, I would say, in a military fashion, just, you know, letting the people talk. And there was great people I met. I met a farmer from Weezer, who listens to you on a tractor. I met couples who, you know, try to encourage them to call in. So thank you for allowing me to participate in one of the most joyous events I've really been to in a long, long time.
Cindy, God bless. Thank you. You take care.
You too now. God bless you too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. A big difference from former President Obama last night.
My duty and the sacred duty of every elected official in this chamber is to defend Americans, to protect their safety, their families, their communities, and their right to the American dream. Because Americans are dreamers too.
Americans are dreamers too. We go to Hank in Boise on KIDO Talk Radio. Hank, always great to see you. Good to see you last night.
My compliments to you, too, man. Well, let me point out something. The blacks were sitting on their hands, and Trump mentioned the lowest black unemployment. And this is the tragedy of the black situation, is identity politics. But to be a black, you have to be a Democrat. And really, the switch over from the blacks from the Republican Party began with FDR. And yet FDR had systematic discrimination in the federal relief programs, the CCC, the WPA, and the PWA, where blacks were systematically discriminated against. Neither would Roosevelt come out in favor of the Wagner-Costigan and Anti-Lynch Act when there was a rash of lynchings in the South in the 1930s. You look at Harry Truman. Truman's given a lot of credit for the order in 1947 to integrate the armed forces, but he didn't implement it. It took Dwight Eisenhower in 1953 to implement it. You had black units, such as the 24th Infantry, that were still going to Korea in 1950, still all black units. So basically what Truman did was symbolic. You have the Great Society and the LBJ. What did it do? It destroyed the black family, the welfare. And the net result was the majority of blacks today are born illegitimate, and also on top of that, crime exploded in the inner cities. And then you got on top of all this Obama, who was supposed to be the big black hope, and yet the highest unemployment among blacks in their history outside of the Depression is during the Obama years. And yet blacks, a black who comes out as a Republican is regarded as an Uncle Tom, a person who. So I mean, it's a triumph of both identity politics and hyper-partisanship, which seems to be the systematic illness of the modern-day Democratic Party. But it afflicts the people who supposedly the Democrats are champions of. And if I had a champion like the Democrat Party coming out for my interests as a black, I'd have more than second thoughts. I would probably put the sign of the cross there, like you do to Dracula, Dracula or the vampire. I mean, this is a tragedy, and I don't know how they're going to rectify it, but I think that sooner or later the blacks have to realize that they have to vote by their own interests in their pocketbooks, not by identity politics.
Hank, we appreciate you. Thank you for the picture last night as well.
Well, thank you. And
we're going to hang it up. We're going to hang it up here in the broadcast center. So thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Bye-bye. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Kevin Miller in the morning. Let's go to security guard Mike. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Kevin Miller. Fantastic Dave and Buster's party. You were looking great in your suit and red tie, and I thought it was a great party. The speech that Donald Trump gave was fantastic. I love the fact that he wore a blue tie also, representing he's a blue, and then Pence was wearing a red tie, and it was red tie, blue tie, red state, blue state. And we're going to switch this around, and we're going to get those blue states back to being red states. We're going to do it. And California's going to come back, and they're going to vote. They're going to vote for the Republicans on the next round, because if you saw Nancy Pelosi making all those ugly faces when they were talking about low unemployment, higher wages, and all that, and they weren't even standing up, those Democrats, man, what's wrong with those people over there? Do they hate America that bad? Why don't they just go live in Puerto Rico or something, or Haiti or something? I mean, gee, crickets, come on, people. Anyway, fantastic party. You were awesome, dude. You're the greatest guy. I love the people of Idaho. All the people there were fantastic. They were enthusiastic. And, boy, we have a bright future ahead of us in America. And just dream a lot. And because Americans are dreamers, too. I love it. Thank you so much, Kevin Miller. We love you.
We love you, security guard Mike. You take care of yourself.
Okay, bye-bye, buddy.
Bye-bye. 580-5436, 580-KIDO. Liberty Linda joins us now. Liberty Linda, good morning.
Yes, good morning, Kevin. Thank you so much, Kevin, for an absolutely amazing evening. There were so many wonderful people there last night. And, wow, I think you said about 100 people showed up?
Oh, probably about 300, actually, yeah.
It's unbelievable. It's just absolutely amazing, I felt a total feeling of unity with everyone that was there. I could feel it throughout the whole room. And, you know, it was the best State of the Union address I have ever heard. You know, the guests that the president invited, I don't see how your heart could not go out to them. I couldn't believe every time the camera panned over to the Democrats, how could they sit there with their frozen, unfeeling faces? It was absolutely unbelievable to me over and over again. And, you know, I truly believe if Liberal Steve was there, you know, he would have known that you were wearing a suit. So
Yeah.
I can't believe he didn't show up.
Well, he likes to talk a lot without saying anything.
Anyway, yeah, it was an absolutely amazing evening, and I enjoyed all the wonderful people there. It was a great setting with security guard Mike, Patriot Ray, and Sky King. And, yeah, hey, you know what? Even Frisky Tom was there last night.
I know. Hopefully we'll hear from Frisky Tom. I didn't get a chance to speak to Frisky Tom, but yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. Well, he's back in town now. He's a hard worker.
Well,
And you know what? I really, really hope that you do win the Man of the Year award. You deserve it.
well, thank you. But I think we have a lot of people that we need to focus in on. I really appreciate that. But, you know, we're all in this together. And a lot of people say that. I'd like to try to earn that.
Well, we are in it together, but you're the one that brings us together. So, anyway, I truly believe the same as Terry. And I think everybody else will, too.
Liberty Linda, God bless.
Well, God bless you, Kevin. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Our friend Peyton, the young conservative in Idaho, of Idaho. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Kevin. Man, what an awesome show. What an amazing State of the Union. Things are just finally looking up. I wanted to say one thing right off the bat. Did I hear correctly? I think Kevin Miller might be giving us people of Idaho another opportunity to donate to the Great Mission. Is that what I heard?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. February 10th at Dave & Buster's, 4 to 6. We're asking you to bring a canned good.
Well,
yeah.
sign me up. I'll be there. I won't miss it this time.
That'd be great. That'd be great, Peyton.
Yeah, I also wanted to say the other guy that you had on earlier, man.
Well, Peyton, give us a call back, sir. We apparently lost you. Sorry about that. More of your phone calls next on KIDO Talk Radio. And we continue the fight. Good morning. Blessed to be part of your day. Back to you, Peyton. We lost you. Go ahead, please.
Kevin, sorry about that. My phone's not the best. I figured we were getting close to having to go to break anyway. But anyway, what I was saying was I really liked what that guy had to say about local radio and the unique relationship that you're building with our community. And I feel that wholeheartedly with you, and I know many others do too. You're a great man, and the things that you do are awesome. And you're like-minded with a lot of people here. The things that you keep replaying from the State of the Union are some of my favorite parts. I can't believe that the Black Caucus sat on their hands during that part. I thought that part was one of my favorites. The only thing that I would have added to that is after he said about how the unemployment's been the lowest with each race, at the very end he should have said, and that means, my brothers and sisters, that we as a country have hit the lowest unemployment, one of the lowest all times. Anyway, that's what I think he should have said, but he did great. I loved it. I just really appreciate what you're doing in this community. And another donation again to the mission, which is one of the greatest opportunities anyone around here has to do. If you have a chance to donate to that place, your money really goes to helping real people.
Sure. Peyton,
anyway,
God bless.
Thank you, Kevin. You have a good one.
God bless. Dave?